These are 3 ways to make a circle or a ring. The traditional way for something like a granny square is to start with a slip stitch, pull it through. Now chain how many are stipulated in your pattern. I'm just going to do 4 right here, making chain 4. Now I'm joining it with a slip stitch, and that will create your ring. You have your space in the center, and now you work whatever stitches your pattern calls for. You can start out with that stitch, or you can begin with the appropriate chains. And beginning with the appropriate chains is the, again, traditional way of doing it. So I'm going to do double crochet, so I begin with 3 chains. That is that first double crochet. Do your yarn over, and pull through the center, and you've made your double crochet. So you keep working your stitches around whatever the pattern calls for, and always work through that center ring. When you've completed the number, you join it with a slip stitch in that last, or in your first chain, and you will end up with something like this, and you will notice that there is definitely a little space in the center. This is the way you usually begin a motif or a granny square. Now we're going to do another way. This way, again, I'm beginning with a slip stitch, and in this way I'm going to chain just what I need for whatever stitch I'm going to begin with. If it's a single crochet, I chain 2 and work in that first stitch. If it's a half double, I chain 3 and work in that half stitch. But if I'm going to do a double crochet, I chain 4 and work back in that first stitch, which is the 4th stitch from the hook, and now I'm doing a yarn over, pull through, and I'm making my double crochet. So I'm going to work all my stitches in that first loop. And again, you'll be making how many stitches are required by your pattern. And I work all the way around and then join with a slip stitch in that top of that first chain, or if you started out with a double crochet, join to the top of that double crochet. And you will create this, and you'll notice that the center is a lot smaller than the other. So the traditional one has a little bit more of a space in the center, and this one's a little tighter. Now there's a third way, which is basically working in a slip stitch. So I'm going to begin the slip stitch like you normally would, but now you keep it open. And it's a little tricky, but hold it and start working your stitches within that slip stitch. Again, I could begin with the double crochet, or I could chain 3. Since I'm going to be doing this with double crochets, if I was using a single crochet, I would chain 1, or I'd make a single crochet, half double crochet, chain 2, or make a half double crochet. And now I'm going to be working everything in the center of that slip stitch. And I'll do a couple double crochets in that center. And what you're going to notice about this is when you finish making your circle, you've joined it with a slip stitch, now you pull that thread and you make a very tight circle, like in this one. You can hardly see it. This is especially nice if you're working on something like a hat or a purse where you don't want the hole to be very big. So you can see there's 3 ways of doing it. There's the traditional way where you begin with your chain, and that has a little bigger space in the center. There's the one where you work back in the first chain stitch with the little smaller hole, and then you have what is called the magic ring, or the adjustable one, where you can pull that thread and make it very tight. If you would like to see any free patterns, go to free patterns at simpleandsensational.com.